Welcome back, dear listeners, to the Deconstructed Truth, where we continue to unveil the biblical mysteries shaping our modern world. In episode 1 of our series, Iran in the Bible. Decoding its complete destiny, we explored Iran's ancient origins in Genesis, Persia's surprising role as God's instrument for Israel's liberation, the miracle of Esther, and the profound meaning of the name Iran itself. But this story is far from over. Today, we delve into an even deeper dimension. Directly from the visions granted to one of the Bible's greatest prophets, Daniel. These visions not only predicted the rise and fall of earthly empires, including Persia, but also revealed a lesser-known reality, an invisible war unfolding in the spiritual realms, influencing the destinies of nations. Have you ever wondered if the conflicts and political tensions we see in the news are merely the tip of an iceberg? Today, we will uncover 5 imperial secrets and the invisible war revealed through Daniel's visions, secrets that have shaped the relationship between Iran and Israel from ancient times to the present day. Let's dive into these astonishing prophecies. Secret 1, Nebuchadnezzar's Great Statue, Persia's place in the grand plan. The first secret brings us to one of the Bible's most famous visions. Revealed to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and interpreted by the prophet Daniel himself. Right in the heart of the mighty Babylonian Empire, Daniel was granted understanding into the flow of all human history, through a dream the king could not recall and none of his wise men could explain. The dream was of a colossal statue made of various metals, each part symbolizing a world empire that would rise and fall. King Nebuchadnezzar was revealed by Daniel to be the head of gold, symbolizing his mighty and wealthy Babylonian kingdom. But immediately after, the prophecy indicated an inevitable succession. But after you, another kingdom will rise, one inferior to yours, depicted by the chest and arms of silver. Here lies the key. That silver statue was not just one nation but 2 arms, 2 mighty forces intertwined in one body, the Medes and the Persians. This shows that Persia was not just a random historical event but a predetermined part of God's plan to succeed Babylon. This prophecy was fulfilled with astonishing accuracy. On one night, as King Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's grandson, held a lavish feast, a mysterious hand wrote on the palace wall, Min, Tekel, Upharsin. Daniel was summoned and revealed the terrifying message. Your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. That very night, Babylon fell, and the Persian Empire stepped onto the stage of history, precisely as the prophecy had outlined. This was more than just a political power shift, it was a sign that God was shaping history, using earthly kingdoms as pieces on his divine chessboard. Persia's position as the chest and arms of silver indicated that its dominion would be vast and powerful, yet also temporary, giving way to subsequent empires. For Israel, this held profound meaning. Even in exile, God's people were reminded that their destiny was linked to the rise and fall of the greatest empires, all according to the Almighty's predetermined plan. Secret 2, the Persian bear, conquering might and 3 ribs. The second secret about Iran in the Bible brings us to another of Daniel's terrifying visions. A vision of monstrous beasts rising from chaotic waters, representing future empires. The second beast in this vision looked like a massive bear, raised up on one side, with 3 ribs clutched between its teeth. A voice thundered from heaven, "Get up and eat your fill of flesh." This bear symbolized the empire destined to succeed Babylon, the alliance between Media and Persia. The fact that the bear was raised up on one side carried deep meaning. It indicated that within the 2 parts of the empire, Media and Persia, Persia would ultimately dominate and wield greater power, even though the Medes appeared first. This was precisely fulfilled in history when Cyrus the Great, a Persian king, unified and controlled the empire, making Media a subservient part. And the three ribs clutched between the bear's teeth. These were specific symbols, representing Persia's three greatest conquests. Campaigns that devoured other mighty kingdoms. They were Lydia, a wealthy kingdom in Asia Minor, famous for King Croesus. Babylon, the empire that held the Jewish people captive and was spectacularly overthrown by Persia. Egypt, an ancient superpower in North Africa, Israel's oppressor for centuries. This vision was fulfilled with chilling accuracy. After conquering the kingdom of Lydia in Asia Minor and Babylon itself, Persia did not slow down. It set its sights on Egypt. Under Cambyses II, son of Cyrus, Persian armies marched across the Sinai desert and crushed Pharaoh Psamtik III in the Battle of Pelusium. Egypt, ancient Israel's oppressor, fell before the Persian Empire, and thus the third rib was torn from its place. This prophecy not only demonstrates Persia's military might and ambition but also reaffirms that God reigns over nations, using even the fiercest beasts to accomplish his purposes. It also underscores the intimate connection between Persia and Israel's destiny, as Persia's conquests directly affected nations that had historically interacted with God's people. The Persian bear is a symbol of precisely prophesied earthly power, showing God's supreme control over the flow of history. Secret 3. The two-horned ram, Persian dominance and decline under Greece. The third secret about Iran in Daniel's visions reveals more detail about Persia's dominance and its inevitable downfall under a new power. Years after the visions of the statue and the bear, Daniel received another vision while by the Ulai River. Before him appeared a ram with two horns, but one horn was taller than the other. And the taller horn grew up later. This fierce ram charged toward the west, north, and south, and no beast could stand before it. The subsequent explanation clarified the vision's meaning. The two-horned ram that you saw represents the kings of Media and Persia. Once again, Persia took center stage in the divine plan. The detail that one horn was taller than the other, and the taller horn grew up later, was an unmistakable sign of Persia's dominance over Media. Although initially an alliance, Persia under Cyrus the Great surpassed Media in power and influence, becoming the dominant force within the empire. As the vision continued, a sudden and dramatic event occurred. From the west, a goat appeared, swift as the wind, with a single prominent horn between its eyes. This goat charged the ram, knocking it down and trampling it, shattering the ram's two horns. The explanation: the goat represented Greece, and the prominent single horn symbolized Alexander the Great. What is astonishing is that this prophecy was recorded centuries before Alexander the Great was born and the Greek Empire rose. Daniel foresaw the downfall of Persia, the greatest empire the world had ever seen, at the hands of a new power from the West. This was more than just a military prediction. It was a declaration of God's sovereignty, that no empire is eternal and all power must submit to his will. For Israel, this shift was significant. Although Persia was an instrument of liberation, the subsequent Greek Empire would bring new challenges, particularly in terms of culture and religion. This secret shows that Persia was not invincible, its power had limits, and its destiny was predetermined in God's grand plan. This is a powerful testament that biblical prophecies are not mere fairy tales but detailed maps of world history. Secret 4. The Prince of Persia, the spiritual war behind empires. The fourth secret is one of the most astonishing and often overlooked revelations in the Bible, unveiling an entirely different dimension of the confrontation between empires. The invisible spiritual war unfolding behind the curtain of human history. In Daniel chapter 10, the prophet Daniel received a terrifying vision that drove him to fast and mourn for 3 full weeks. Afterward, a majestic angel appeared, but revealed something startling. He had been delayed on his way to Daniel for 21 days. Who delayed an angel from heaven? Not an earthly army, not a king, but a spiritual entity. The prince of the kingdom of Persia. This was no mortal prince, this was a demonic principality, an entity of authority, assigned to dominate and resist God's purposes over an entire empire. This reveals that behind kings and palaces, decrees and armies, there are unseen powers whispering into the ears of rulers, attempting to shape history according to their own agenda. So what does this mean for us? If that was true in Daniel's time, then is it not possible, perhaps even likely, that such forces are still at work today? Could modern-day Iran, the modern echo of Persia, still be entangled in spiritual conflicts that began long ago? We often see Iran and Israel as mere geopolitical adversaries, but prophecy reveals something far deeper. This is a spiritual confrontation, one that spans centuries, kingdoms, and unseen realms. The hostility we see in our world may be a reflection of an ancient spiritual struggle still playing out in real time. This vision also revealed the intervention of another angel, Michael, the archangel, the protector of Israel, who came to help the hindered angel. This suggests that even now, as in Daniel's time, Michael stands in spiritual defense of Israel, while unseen battles rage in realms we cannot comprehend. This is a profound glimpse into how Earth's political and religious affairs are not solely driven by human hands, but are part of a much larger war between good and evil. Secret 5. The Antichrist spirit, ancient seeds of hatred still alive. The fifth and pivotal secret of this invisible confrontation is the realization that the deep-seated hatred between Iran and Israel is not a new phenomenon or merely the result of modern politics. Instead, it is the manifestation of an ancient and malevolent spirit that has been at work for centuries. The Bible tells us that, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, Ephesians 6 verse 12. This means that, behind governments, policies, and armies, there are spiritual forces at play. The animosity that Iran's leaders frequently express publicly against Israel is not just religious or ideological, it is ignited from the underworld, a fire fueled by Satan himself. The demonic entity referred to as the Prince of Persia in Daniel 10 is more than a symbolic figure. He is a spiritual ruler, a dark entity operating in the realm once known as Persia, and which today we call Iran. What is remarkable is that the domain of this entity did not vanish with the empires of old. The throne may have changed, the flags may look different, but the spirit remains the same. This spirit lingers, whispering destruction, inciting fury, and seeking to thwart the destiny of Israel, the apple of God's eye, Zechariah 2 verse 8. This leads us to the concept of the Antichrist spirit. This spirit is not just a single future figure but a spiritual force that has operated throughout history, opposing God the Father and God the Son, and manifesting through ideologies and nations, especially those seeking to destroy Israel. Every arrow aimed at Israel ultimately aims at God himself. Jesus warned his followers, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me before it hated you," John 15 verse 18. That ancient hatred has not faded, it has only found new flags to fly under. Therefore, when you watch the news and see Iran's threats against Israel, when you hear declarations of war or chants of destruction, know that you are not just hearing from men. You may be hearing from something ancient and unseen, the voice behind the voice, the hand behind the hostility. But remember the rest of the story, the demonic Prince of Persia could not prevail. Michael came, the message was delivered, God's will was not stopped. This reveals a profound truth: no matter how powerful the opposition, heaven always has the final word. We have just unveiled shocking secrets and explored 5 imperial secrets and the invisible war revealed through the visions of the prophet Daniel. From Persia as the chest and arms of silver, in Nebuchadnezzar's statue, to the image of the Persian bear with 3 ribs, the 2-horned ram. And especially the existence of the Prince of Persia, a malevolent spiritual entity. We've seen how these ancient visions not only predicted the rise and fall of earthly empires but also revealed a deeper war, a spiritual confrontation taking place behind the curtain of human history. The ongoing confrontation between Iran and Israel, with all its political and religious complexity, cannot be fully understood without recognizing this spiritual dimension. It is a reflection of an ancient struggle, a war that began long before any missiles or sanctions existed. And if Daniel's prophecies are still unfolding, then perhaps we are living in a time when this invisible war is becoming clearer than ever, shaping global events in ways that the physical eye cannot see. So, after all you've heard, do you believe the conflict between Iran and Israel is not just political but also a spiritual war? Do you see signs of this invisible war in today's headlines? What do you think this means for your role as a believer, as an observer in this pivotal moment of history? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you'd like us to continue exploring how current events connect with biblical prophecy, give this video a thumbs up and share it. This lets us know that we should continue uncovering more prophecies unfolding right before our eyes. If you found this content informative, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the Deconstructed Truth, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming podcast episodes. Thank you for listening. We look forward to having you join us in episode 3 of Iran in the Bible, Decoding Its Complete Destiny, where we will explore modern Iran. Transformation from ancient times to today's adversary, 5 shocking causes.